Welcome everyone to this live. Always happy to have you here. Since you're here, I'll just give you a fun fact that no one on this chat knows is this is actually my last live featuring another person. So, Tori, this is a very special moment because I am taking a break from featuring others. So I'm really excited to have you as our ending conversation. And I would love for you to start us off by introducing yourself, tell us about your products, what you do, so that we can get to know you a little bit better.
Sure, and what an honor. I did not know that. So I appreciate being able to be on your platform. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Tori Profit. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I am licensed in the state of Texas, and I have a private practice that specializes in pregnant and postpartum women and birth trauma. But I'm also the creator of Soft Landing Circle, which is a support group for Black women moving and living abroad. It's my newest baby, and I'm just really excited to be able to offer something to fill that gap for Black women who need to make their exit.
That's perfect. So today, the title is Should You Move to Heal or Should You Be Healing to Move? Could you give more information about how you decided that this was a topic that you valued, that you felt like you could provide expertise to, and how did you decide on the population of interest that you're focusing on?
Sure. Well, the topic idea came to me because, I'd be hanging out in the chat of Stephanie's live streams. I'm also a moderator for Stephanie. And, I see what people are talking about, what they're concerned about. And really the comments that stand out most to me are the ones where someone's sharing something about their inner world, like what they're thinking. I can't necessarily help them with logistics like Stephanie does, but I see those insecurities and those concerns. And there was one particular episode, I don't remember which one it was, and it was some time ago, where someone said either that they feel like they needed to do all their healing work, or they wondered if they needed to do all their healing work before they moved. And then someone else replied to her by saying, she's doing her work now so that when she goes, she doesn't have that baggage to carry. And I thought, what an interesting idea, what an interesting question. But then I also felt a little bit of sadness for the person who originally asked, because I thought how daunting it must feel like you have to heal it all before you can go. And then I do have concern for people who maybe don't do any work on it before they go, and then they land abroad and they're crying in paradise, like we talked about on H&D Abroad's channel. They move abroad and finally have what they so wanted, and it doesn't feel like they thought it would, right? It hits different. And so I just thought, well, I wonder how many other people have this same question, and can we talk about it? So, and really, you asked about how I got started. Did you want me to go into that too?
Yes, please.
It was kind of the same thing. I back when the well, gosh, how far back could I go? I've been a part of the Exodus Summit community for a few years now, and just really enjoying getting into the community. Like for 5 years, maybe I've been watching Stephanie, and just becoming more and more part of the community over the years. And then when the Facebook group was still going, I would see that in the comments too. I would see people saying, "What do I do about my mental health when I move abroad?" And that's when the light bulb hit for me. Yeah, what do we do? Let me do some research. And I started digging in, right? And I started talking to like all of my therapist friends and all of my therapy networks, and really trying to patch things together. And so I came up with some things that I think are possible solutions to at least help fill that gap. Because as a licensed marriage and family therapist in Texas, I know what my rules and regulations say about seeing someone who's in Mexico, but clients don't know that. And I started hearing about people getting getting abandoned basically by their therapist once they moved. They didn't know that that was going to happen. And so, here I am. I'm kind of like straddling both lines. I thought this is something people need. So why not fill that gap?
That is a great point and a very valid concern. Definitely, if you are thinking of moving abroad, two things. If you have a remote job, you need to find out, does that job allow you to work remotely? Because
Hmm.
it's remote, but because of taxes, they don't necessarily always allow you to live outside of the country. And number two, if you have a therapist, will that therapist stop working with you if you're out of the country? Because people are licensed in certain states, that doesn't necessarily always allow them to be able to provide services to people outside the country. So,
Absolutely.
two very good things for us to think about when we leave. Have you seen any results or like heard from your clients about how it's going, how helpful you working with you was? Have you gotten any feedback?
Sure. Yes. And I have a few women who been through the program already, and for example, one of them has said that it really helped her to start to pay attention to her needs. You know, hey, as as Black women in this country, we come last on our own list a lot of times, and so she began to put herself first in her own needs, and she even discovered needs that she didn't know she had. Right. I'm thinking of one woman in particular being in a job, a soul sucking job. Her last day is coming up, what, next week? Right. And I won't say I did that. I'm not saying I did that, but giving her the support to talk through a lot of the things she needed to talk through and feel what her intuition was really telling her, she made that decision with a lot more clarity and without becoming dysregulated, right? Without like spiraling into negative self talk or bad coping skills, those types of things. Um, I've had another couple of women who were already abroad and in the program, right? So that first one is one who was trying to transition. Other women are already abroad, and so I've walked with women who have lost parents or who are navigating caregiving for parents that have had a health event. Um, I've had another woman who's navigating her relationship with her adult children, right? And so through our work together, they've been able to, again, like the first woman, really have the time to sit and listen to what they need, pay attention to what their body's saying they need, and then be able to show up in those relationships a little bit differently than they were before, right? Whether it's setting boundaries or knowing that I'm going to make this sacrifice for my parent now, but that doesn't mean I have to give up on my dream. Those are the types of conversations we really have and the kind of transformations you see. People becoming more self-confident in the choices that they want to make for their own peace and well-being. Yeah.
I love how you put that, make the sacrifice now and then follow through what you need to do later, because it doesn't mean you have to abandon what you want to do just because you can't do it in this moment. So,
Yeah.
Tori, we've had conversation about how you have not yet made that move. We hope that you can make that move or even just do that travel at some point. We are rooting for
Absolutely.
you. Tell me how you feel about the fact that even though you haven't made that move yet, you do still feel like you have this expertise and this value to provide to your clients with that information.
Sure. And I look at it a couple of different ways. One is coming from the background of being a therapist. The majority of my clients, I haven't experienced the things that they've experienced. I have clients who have a lot of childhood trauma or just other things that they've been through I've not been through, but I still hold space for them. I still empathize with them. I still offer them a healthy relationship where they can process all those emotions. And really, that's kind of what my gifting is. The clients are really kind of borrowing my nervous system. Um, I've done a lot of work on my own nervous system. I've been very blessed with the way I, have been raised and treated in my life. And so a lot of my gifting comes from that kind of resilience and that nervous system steadiness that I have. And so I'm able to hold really hard spaces for people, even when I'm holding a hard space for myself, And so that's kind of one way I look at it. Um, Another way I look at it is, well, I saw a, a place where people needed help and I filled it, right? I love doing that. I'm a helper, right? I have really good boundaries around helping. But, I saw where people were struggling and I wanted to help. And I think that's good enough, you know. Now I'm immersed in these kind of conversations and it's just compounding and compounding. I'll never fully understand it, right? Unless and until I don't intend in the near future to become a full expat, but I got some travel dreams that I am working on myself, you know.
Okay, tell us about your travel dreams. Where do you wanna go? What do you wanna see?
Look, every time I watch a video, someone's talking about a place, I'm like, I want to go there. I want to go, like, I want to go everywhere. I want to go everywhere. If you ask me where I want to go first, well, okay, probably San Miguel de Allende. That's, oh, it looks so beautiful there. And I think my children would love it there, but girl, I want to go everywhere. Well, everywhere except where it's super cold. I boycott. Yeah, I'm team boycott winter all the way.
Same, same, and,
And
like, my
tacos. Anywhere there's tacos.
anywhere there's tacos, and my family is in the chat. Family are subscribers, but I am boycott winter, okay? We're from Detroit, Michigan, boycott winter. So what y'all need to know, family, is I probably won't be there if it's snowing. Okay, I just need to let them know that because they're in the chat. Okay, so I just want to say hello to some of the people we have. Halise, thanks for stopping by. Halise has mentioned that she is going to Mexico, moving to Mexico as a part of her healing journey. Halise is frequently in Mexico, so already making that transition, and we love to see that. And then we also have Vani in the chat. Vani, thank you for coming and being here. Love you, Vani, so much. And I want you to know that Vani also said that she's rooting for you. Rooting for you to be able to do your travel dreams. Wanted to say hello to my mom. Always here too. Good to see you. And then Dr. Cheryl. There isn't a live unless Dr. Cheryl is here. Okay. Dr. Cheryl is at every live. Okay. Perfect attendance is going to be given to Dr. Cheryl. So we love to see that. Okay. So I want to tell you just like a quick story, and we're going to get right into moving to heal, healing to move. So I've done both.
Okay.
When I graduated with my doctorate, I moved to heal and I moved to Colombia.
Oh, yes. You got the
Play
evidence.
no games, not one day of my life. And so I moved to Colombia and I was like, forget the US. I can't believe the way they treated me in this program. I'm out. And I did exactly what you said. And I cried in paradise. I was like always sad. I was super depressed. I was in my room all of the time. And I'm like, you worked so hard to get here, but people would invite me out. I didn't want to go. Like, I really needed to heal from the trauma from that PhD program before I moved. So the first like 5 or 6 months was really, really difficult for me because I was so sad. At some point, and I didn't tell many people this, I debated returning home because it was just so much. I had gone with all my trauma, just the language every single day, having to speak Spanish. Even though I am a Spanish speaker, it's the fact that it's not my native language, so it still requires me to think, right?
Mhm.
And then it was like new vocab and stuff that I didn't know. It was my first time to Colombia, so like different culture I just didn't know. And I already was very sad from the things that happened to me in PhD. So
Yeah.
I would say I don't necessarily recommend moving to heal if you're like super triggered, because you just
Sure.
take all the triggers right with you abroad and, like you said, end up crying in paradise.
Yeah. It sounds like you were very overwhelmed with all the things. It was just a lot.
So overwhelmed. Now, I've been in the US since I came back from Colombia for 3 years, and I've been
Mhm.
trying to get back to Colombia so bad, and I've been healing in that time. So I haven't made
Mhm.
it back to be like, "Oh, I healed and now I'm moving," but I have
Mhm.
been working on healing. I have a therapist. I have been listening to podcasts. I've been reading books on self-help. So now I feel way more healed to be
Mhm.
able to move. I remember back then I thought, "Oh, Imma move to Colombia and everything's gonna be great. My life is gonna be fantastic." And now I don't think that, Tori. I'm like, "Listen, from what we saw last time, we know there's gonna be some things that disappoint you. Number 1, visa. Visa, always irritating, like, that would just irritate you no
So
matter what.
yeah.
That visa process, you are not a citizen, visas are annoying, 1.
Mhm.
Number 2, trying to find community. You don't just drop there and you got 500 friends, right? Like you have to make the friends, and that takes some time. Getting adjusted to the culture. Again, like even though I am the world traveler, love to travel, there still is a little bit of adjustment where you're just like, okay, where do I live again? Okay, what street is my apartment on? And so I'm like, just be prepared that there may be some things that you just have to, get adjusted to,
Sure.
and then things could be better. What
Absolutely.
say you, Tori? What say you?
Transition is hard. All transitions are hard. Okay. So just to kind of normalize it for one, just as human beings growing up, transitioning from one stage to the next is hard, right? And then thinking of the different systems we transition in and out of as we grow, it's hard. If you just use the example of schooling, transitioning from one grade to the next can be hard, or one school to the next can be hard, right? From one city to the next can be hard. Transitions are hard. Transitioning from being a single person to a partnered person or a parent, all transitions are hard. They're hard because they're the point where you're outgrowing what's familiar and you're entering into what is unfamiliar. Okay, so if you think of it like these are the 2 points where they meet is attention because it's growing, and it's going to be difficult. It doesn't have to be, and you don't have to white knuckle your way through it, though, right? Just because it's hard doesn't mean it has to be excruciating. So then when you're going through like the transition that you're describing from graduate school, it was already an experience that sounds like it had some trauma to it. And then you're transitioning to something new. So one, you're coming out of a traumatizing environment, already a transition. And then the new country and all of the hundreds of things that are new about that, right? It's new on top of new. I mean, no wonder you felt that way, no wonder you felt that way. If we could go back in time, if I could be a fly on the wall, I would want to watch you and see, I wonder what her red flags were at the time. I wonder if you had any awareness of what was going on for you, or if because of the environment you were coming out of, maybe some of that awareness was cloaked a little bit, masked. You talked about romanticizing the new place a little bit. Girl, we all do that, right? I mean, people do that coming out of relationships. And right, I think you've said that on your show too. We hear it on a lot of the episodes. Leaving the US is like leaving a bad relationship, but jumped right into a new relationship. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot for you to unpack.
Thank you, Tori. I feel like This is a session for me of healing. I appreciate you for that. I definitely am a person that romanticizes things. I should be the most romantic person because that's my favorite thing. Grass is greener on the other side, 100%. That's going to be me. So I was like, anything's better than the US. Let's go. Absolutely not. There's still, like you said, transition, and transitions are definitely hard. But it was just such extreme trauma that I faced of
Mhm.
abuse from my former advisor that I was like, I just, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I'll just take it over that. But not knowing that there can be other things that are traumatizing too, or there can be
Mhm.
other things that, cause transition. But don't worry, Tori, I'm not going to make that mistake. I've been working for 3 years on myself. So I'm like, listen. And a good thing is I'm going back to a country that I already know. I'm going
Mhm.
back, like now those words that I was like, what is this word? They'll be familiar to me now. I
Yeah.
already have community. So the place that I'm trying to go, I already have 4 friends that live there that I made at the time. So I was thinking, Tori, even though I had to go through a lot the first time, doing that has prepared me for this second
Sure.
move, right?
Absolutely.
And it
Yeah.
makes things like a lot easier than it was the first time.
Absolutely. You're gonna have a softer landing this time,
I think so.
and
I
I
think
know
so.
that you said maybe that you thinking in hindsight you shouldn't have made that move, but I'm also wondering, well, maybe you could have just a little differently, you know, have more of those important things in place for you there. So maybe it wasn't it could have been either one. And so I'm kind of also saying that for anyone who's listening. That's not necessarily that you shouldn't have moved. Maybe, maybe not. That's your opinion, right? You know yourself. But also, if you decided to still move, oh, there probably could have been some things to get in place first and foremost. And having someone that could have helped you see that, right, and helped you prepare those things. Someone who would have maybe recognized the traumatized state you were in and said, "Hey, girl, let's set up this." Like what I have when I have clients transitioning out of a really hard, traumatizing place, we have a safety plan, right? Well, let's have your expat safety plan. These are some things that I do in my group. Let's have your safety plan for you. What are the soft landings you need so that this isn't more trauma on top of trauma?
I love that. That makes sense. You're 100%. I had no safety net. I had never even been to the country before. So that is a wild decision that I made. But also in the chat, we have Doctora Pam, and she says, hey, Dr. Maya. Hey, Tori Prophet. Hey, Pam. Thank you, Pam. Pam, Spanish. Thank you, Pam, for always being here and for supporting us in the channel. And then Vani says the trauma of being in that US is real. It's hard to unlearn everything and truly learn to breathe and relax our shoulders a bit and realize we're not under threats. This is very, very true. Thank
Mhm.
you for that comment, Vani. There is a follow up comment for Vani too. As a fellow traveler and living in a different country as a child, we learn that wherever we go, there's good and bad. We have a choice in picking out which good and bad we want to work with.
Mm.
Agreed. Agreed. So I think this is a really strong point. Thank you, Vani. Is that there's going to be good and bad everywhere, right? Like, even though the US is interesting. There are some good things, right? We have passport privilege. Like, we can get into a lot of countries in the world just having
Mhm.
that passport where other people cannot. We have a lot of amenities. Maybe we don't even think about it, but like having a bathtub is an amenity where in a lot of countries in Latin America, there is no bathtub. Obviously, running water,
Mhm.
things that we just take advantage of, lights on all the time, being
Yeah,
able to have a car.
sure.
Even though the US is an interesting place, there are still some things that we benefit from on a daily. Being able to
Mhm.
speak English, like, we
Mhm.
benefit from a lot of things. And that's going to be the same of any country. There's always going to be a good and bad. So you should never romanticize a place. You never be like, this is the best place in the world, because there isn't one. All countries have made mistakes. All countries have done some terrible things, and all countries going to have some good things. So similar to Vani, what Vani said, and what I believe is that you should probably lean into, are there more positive things in that country than negative things? And if that works for you, cool. Because while we're out here trying to escape the US, there's some people that are trying to come here and like really excited about that. So
Right? Good
that's a
point.
fact.
Good points. Good points. If you're prone to romanticizing, then, maybe your challenge is go ahead and make that cons list. Force yourself to brainstorm all the bad things that can happen. Now, a lot of my therapy clients struggle with anxiety, so they already got the cons list going, and we have to balance it out on the other end, But yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Tori. Can you tell us about the safety plan? I love that you have a safety plan with folks. What is the safety? What does that consist of?
It's really very individual. But I borrowed the idea from the work I do when I have a therapy client who might be a harm to herself, right? That's a very dire kind of situation. I have other clients who are trying to escape harmful relationships. We build a safety plan. So really, it's just whatever we need to put on that list that makes sure that you're safe, right? And so it's like I said, it's very individual. So I would talk with a person and just find out all the things about where they're coming from, and then reflect back to them what I see is important to them, some themes, right? I may recognize, okay, I've noticed that in this conversation, you're only saying all the positive things. Let's look at what could potentially go wrong. What would be really hard for you if it went wrong? Would it be really hard for you if you got to a new place and or would it be really hard for you if you've moved, like some people move sight unseen to a place, right? They haven't done a scouting trip, anything. Are you the type of person that, may be really particular about your environment, or maybe you're not, so it will be individual. Like if you the type of person that would I'm thinking of my daughter who would freak out at not having, lights all the time, or a shower available all the time. Well, okay, let's look around, let's think. Maybe you do need to do a little bit more research. On a more emotional level, I would say, do you have 3 people that you feel connected enough to call, in the middle of the night, no matter what time or time zone it is, to tell them that you're just feeling really sad and lonely? Do you have a safe person? 1, 2, or 3 safe people, right? I want to know if you have. I want to know what your skills are for regulating your own emotions and your own body when you're feeling like really like activated. That's what I call it. Do you have some of those skills already, or do we need to work on those skills? So if you already know breathing techniques, then let's pick one. And then every time you feel this way, you do this technique, right? That's part of the safety plan, that for you to know what to do and when to do it, right? Now, I have some people who are not aware of what their body's doing in relation to their emotions or their thoughts. So we have to go back a little further and build that awareness, right? Or if they describe to me certain behaviors like, yeah, if my family calls, I'm probably going to ignore those calls because I can't face them, right? Because I've left the country, and I can't. They didn't want me to leave. We hear a lot of that. My adult children didn't want me to leave, and so when they call, I just avoid that. Okay, well, let me help you notice what your body is doing when that happens. Do you want to be able to take their calls? Or is this a relationship where you need to cut them off? Let's talk about that. It can become part of the safety plan, or what to do, how to prepare yourself before you make that phone call back home, right? Because if you're finding yourself in this pattern of always just saying whatever you need to say to please who's on the phone, or hanging up the phone and you're collapsing in tears, well, then we need a plan in place before you take those phone calls, right? So it can be a wide range of different things. Everyone's safety plan will be different and very particular to them. But those are just a few examples of situations that I've encountered with women and ways to handle them.
That is really good advice. I love what you said about having somebody to call in the night, regardless of the time zone, because obviously
Mhm.
that's gonna be a big part
Yeah.
when moving, but just being able to have that person
Mhm.
for sure that can support you, that can calm you down, remind you who you are, help you with emotional regulation if you're not able to do that is a really good idea. You also mentioned a good point about scouting trips. And to my audience, y'all know I stay scouting for y'all so you don't have to go scouting. You could just watch the video and you don't have to go there. But I just wanted to say, Tori, I think as a person who historically who never scouted, lived in 5 countries, never been to them before, okay.
Yeah, I'm that kind of person. Like, I just wanna go do it. I
I
don't
just
wanna
wanna
think about this
go.
stuff
We'll figure it out when we
beforehand.
get there. It's gonna
Exactly.
be great. I highly recommend scouting if you want to live there. I highly, highly, highly recommend that. Like you said, the pros and the cons list, super helpful. Like
Mhm.
I started doing the scouting, I'm like, whoa, I actually don't want to live here. Even though I romanticize, I was like, this is actually going to be a no. There's a lot of cons on this list and
Mhm.
barely any pros, but I thought every country is greater than the US. No, when you do country scouting, you do them pros and cons, you start to find the nuance that actually there are differences between different countries. You
Mhm.
know, some of it might have a better weather than the other. Another might have more black people and maybe that's important to you.
Sure.
Another might have more opportunities like to get an easier type of visa. Some are like more difficult and convoluted. So some of the housing is you might like better than the other. So definitely if you
Yeah.
can, I would say do a scouting trip
Yeah.
because it could change your perspective
Mhm.
perspective
100%.
on that country
I
list.
love that. I love it. When you one thing that popped in my head when you were saying that, I was thinking, you know what, with the weather, there's different kinds of hot. Oh my gosh. I've heard about the heat in like Vietnam, and people have compared it to living here in Texas. And then, I've experienced the heat in like drier parts of the country, completely different. I don't like cold weather, but there are different kinds of cold. I've been to Colorado and it snowed and it was less cold there than it gets here in Texas when it's cold. So there's even different ways to experience weather. How much more different could other things be too? It's. I think you're right. It's wise to. It's an extra step to do the scouting trip. And I don't like extra steps.
Yes, that's what I was saying. I mean, if you can, but you're right. There are different types of hot. Oh my God, different types of cold. Like some because this is a thing like in the US, us people that have to deal with snow or coming from snowy places will always compare like your cold is worse than ours, right? Michigan, New York, Massachusetts is always a thing. Well, all three of them got a different type of cold. One is like
Crazy.
cold to the bone. Another is like snow all the way up to here, right? Like the snow is gonna vary too. Surprisingly, it's gonna vary too. So definitely, like you said, the weather, different types, even though it's the same hot, right? But like there are
Mhm.
different levels of hot. Are we talking about so hot we can't go outside? You got to stay in the air conditioner all day? Are we talking about hot you just in your house and sweating, but you didn't do anything that day? Or are we talking about hot you come out in some shorts, you looking cute, but you not sweating it out? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different levels, completely different
Oh my
levels. So
god, that's
I'm glad
crazy.
that you mentioned that. And Vonnie also mentioned in the comment that having a safety plan and trusted friends to lean on is what she likes having. So good job with that. I wanted to go back where you said that transitions are hard.
Mhm.
Completely agree with you. I think the more transitions you make, the harder it is, right? Like doing a
Mhm.
move, a new language, a new job, and a new man. Like too much, right? It's too much at once.
Too much new.
Too much new. Maybe just one, like a move. Maybe
Uh-huh.
just two, a move and a job. But like
Mhm.
5 moves will just be just too much for your brain.
Mhm.
What do you think makes it easy to transition to things? Like you had gave us the example of
Mm.
transitioning out of a relationship, transitioning into a new grade. Like what is it that makes the process of transitioning into something easier?
First thing, top of mind, expectations. I really do think so. like from the smallest transition to the biggest one. I think I learned that the most in raising my children. I grew up Gen X, so we just got thrown into stuff. Ain't nobody explained nothing. Okay? Boop, here you go. New situation. I learned very quickly with my children, oh, that's not really the most emotionally intelligent way to do things. And one that really she really needed to know like all the things before they happen. Okay? So setting expectations, having the conversation with someone who knows where you're trying to go, right? Whatever that transition is. If it's a place or a milestone in life, talking to someone who's been there to and going through your expectations. Those are the first two things that I guess I'm thinking of. You know?
That's good. That's really good, Tori. So listen, okay? We are no longer in the situation that Tori was in back in the day where we didn't have technology, okay? We had no one to talk to. We got thrown in. There is no excuse now because we have technology what? At the fingertips.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, we got Facebook groups, we have Instagram,
Yep.
we have LinkedIn, we have YouTube. Tori
Mhm.
has mentioned to us so many YouTubers out there. People already going to country, so you don't have to go to them. You should talk to people. You should listen to people. You should read what's going on so
Yep.
that you can get that information, do that research ahead of time. And I've also heard the recommendation that you should talk to somebody that you have a similar vibe with. So, like, oh, that
Mm.
person likes weather. I like weather too. That person
Mhm.
cares about housing. I care about housing too. That person is trying to find good healthcare. I want good healthcare too. Don't talk to somebody like that person is interested in working, but I'm trying to take a break because I
Yeah.
just retired. Like, they're going to have a different focus than you. You want to talk to people that you align with. So then it's like, okay, it's almost like me. It's almost like myself that I'm talking to and getting information
Sure.
from.
Yep. Absolutely. I love to hear a bougie traveler talk because I am not trying to sleep on a mat on a dusty floor somewhere. Mm-mm. So when Rashida talks about something, I'm listening. Okay, because she knows she likes things to be a certain way. But you know what? As you're saying that, then I thought, well, what about the people who are prone to become overwhelmed because we have so much information at our fingertips? Have you ever navigated like the information overwhelm?
100%.
Okay. Okay.
So I am a researcher, so I take notes on everything. And I'm like, oh my God, they said this, they said this, they said this. So when I went to Colombia, I was so afraid. I was like, okay, it's about to be the end. Everybody told me all they do is snatch people on the streets and you gonna be in the cartel this and they did this and that. So I'm like, this about to be the end. It was a good one. Tell my family goodbye, but this is over. It's just essentially over. Like, that's what I need to know. Got out. People were so nice. Dude was like, "Hey, are you lost?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can't find a hotel." He like, "All right, what hotel you going to?" So you actually need to take that bus right over there. Somebody else was like, "Hey, your luggage is over there." I didn't even ask a question. They helped me. Got to my hotel. Homegirl was like, "Hey, we got food in like an hour. I know you're hungry, so make sure you come back down here get that food because it closed in an hour." Great. Got on my flight. Got to the place. Had the person waiting for me. Like, no problem story. But from all the research,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is the end. Had the greatest experience
Mm-hmm.
and trying to go back. And so I think sometimes you have to filter out information. Like you said with some of your clients, some of them are focused on negativity,
Mm-hmm.
and some people gonna lead with that every single time.
Right.
And it just can be too much. You just need to focus on what is the information that you need, what is the value for what you're trying to do, and not take in all the rest, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah. 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 And I think, being able to have someone that's relatively impartial, I think, to even talk through that with, someone who's not invested in what decision you make. I think that's another thing that could be helpful. And I'm coming up with that because that's kind of how a therapy relationship works is I'm not really invested in the decisions my clients make. My role is to help them make the best decision for them. And so I'm not putting any pressure on them to do things the way I want them to do. Right. And so if you have someone that you can talk to in that way, that can be so helpful. Right. You don't need to be
Great.
talking to the person who's going to be reminding you about the cartels all the time and the earthquakes and the this and the that. I
Yes,
know about those things.
we got it. Thank you. We got it. Okay, this is a surprise story, but my aunt is here. Hi, Auntie. So glad that you're here with us today. It's the first time, one of the first times that she's been in community. So I'm
Oh, I
happy
love
to see
that
their aunt.
support.
Love that. People are showing up for this last one. They're like, it's the last one. Let me just jump in here real quick. So, yes, I think that the things that you said are super helpful. The advice that you give is super helpful. And we also have Marissa Price Heals, okay? Happy Sunday. Hello, Marissa Price Heals. You know, Marissa be healing us as well or trying to heal us. First of all,
Absolutely.
let's take a pause. Thank you to all the healers, Tori, Marissa. I know we brought a lot to your doorstep. You're like, wow, this is a lot. I have my own life. But we appreciate y'all for trying to heal us in the best way you can.
Yeah.
Okay. We love y'all for healing or trying to heal the community and also setting boundaries with us when you need to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My therapy practice is called Designed to Heal because that's what I truly believe in my heart. We are designed to heal. And even if I call myself a healer, I'm not healing you, right? But I'm holding space for you because you are designed to heal. That's what we're out here trying to do. Just trying to help each other.
For sure. For sure. So, Tori, Vonnie says she never thought about that, finding someone who isn't invested in your decision.
Sure.
Do you want to say more about that?
Well, I think that can be a new idea, and one reason is because at least I'll talk about what I've seen in my own experience is sometimes we can't even go to our own parents when we're parsing through these different decisions because maybe they didn't learn how to stay more impartial and they're invested in keeping us safe, right? I'm invested in keeping my children safe, but I've had to also learn to not put my own fears for their safety on them because there's a certain amount of risk it takes to really become a full grown adult. Right. And so I try not to show fear and emotion when they are navigating their own like adult decisions. Like, I need to do this kind of thing. And so that can be hard for a parent. And if your parent wasn't raised or given the skills to do that, then they may not be the person you can turn to for that. So find someone else. Now, sometimes it's our friends and sometimes it's not. Sometimes our friends can't necessarily be impartial. Sometimes they can. I think, you probably have a good antenna where you can tell if that's true. Um, so just someone who can help you, can be a mirror for you, right? Without clouding up that mirror with their own wants and desires for you. Someone that can reflect back to you yourself and help you sift through that. It's so, so important. Sometimes if that's not a friend, or a relative or something like that, sometimes that is someone a professional, right? That
Mm-hmm.
it could be a coach, right? It
Mm-hmm.
could be a therapist. It could be some other kind of mentor.
Tori, I could not agree with you more. And I told you my family is on here, but I'm
Mhm.
still going to call them out. My family have been fighting with them my whole life. They're like, this is a travel bug. Why you going there? Where you going there?
Right.
I'm like,
Growing
listen,
up is a whole fight for independence anyway,
it's a
right? I
whole
mean,
fight for
it's
independence.
what it is. Parents
It's a
do what
whole
they
fight.
do, and they do the best
Do
they
what they do.
can with the skills
Exactly.
that they've been given,
Exactly.
right? And
And
so I don't hold it against my when I went to Haiti, my dad wanted to tell me all about the bad stuff. And I really got very irritated about it, but I eventually came to a place of peace that, like, he was just trying to keep me safe. He's my daddy, right? So I learned that when I wanted to talk about what I was doing in Haiti, not to talk to him. And we still have a very good relationship to this day. He's not the one to talk to about that. And I don't hold that against him.
That is completely fair. I'm with you so much. Like, especially with Haiti, everybody has an opinion. It be specific country. That's what is not okay, Tori. It be specific countries that everybody got an opinion on. But then you mention Europe and they like, oh my God, have a good time. Wow.
Oh.
Over it.
Mm-hmm.
Over it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, my aunt Marcia is watching. Hello, Auntie Marcia. The
Your
whole
mom
family,
sent a group text to
whole family
family,
is
I
in the
think.
chat. Oh my gosh. So, okay. I did say some things about my family since they're here. Listen, y'all done got a lot better. I know now y'all be like, where are you headed next? How long? We appreciate your growth for that. And when you talked about like how your dad is not a person to go to, recognize who that person is that's going to
Mhm.
tell you everything, be looking up stuff, sending terrible stuff, and stop telling them. You
Yeah.
can even have the option to hold off before you tell them what your plans are. So like if it got to be a month before you go, you're like, okay, now dad, I'm gonna let you know that I'm leaving next month, right? You can tell people at different times. Also, like you said, with friends, some friends are supportive, some friends are not. You gonna know who those people are.
Mm-hmm.
You get your circle of people that you know are trusted. You tell those people first, and then you tell everybody else on a case by case basis. And then also, what you said about professionals, really great if you got a professional, a therapist that supports you, is rocking with you. Somebody like Tori, who's out here trying to get you right, is going to support you.
Yeah.
You can talk to Tori. Tori gonna support you and give you what? A safety plan.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Yeah.
your soft landing.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
For
So
sure.
that is fantastic. Tori, when do you plan to go on your trip with your kids to Mexico?
I'm thinking next year. Still have a lot to get in place. I have my elderly dad that I don't care for full time, but who I have a lot of concern for. We're very close. Um, but I think, and I have a lot going on just anyway, running businesses, raising kids, doing stuff. I am thinking next year sometime we should be in San Miguel de Allende. Now, in the next 3 months, we will be getting the kids' passports. So I do know that the next 3 months, kids' passports. Um, and we'll see. I'm a person who follows my intuition a lot. So I don't actually have like a very outlined, detailed, organized plan, but that's it so far.
Okay, so we have another comment from your sister healer. Your other healer out here is a mental safety plan. A mental safety plan is in a new environment is so important, and that's from Marissa Price Heals. Tori, do you know Marissa?
I do.
Okay.
We've been on a panel together, and yeah,
Okay.
hopefully I'll get to talk with her more sometime soon.
Okay, I will coin y'all sister healers. If y'all okay with that, y'all can take it and roll with it. So that's really great. I wanted to ask you, could you tell us about your products and helping people heal XYZ? How can people join you? How can we contact you?
Sure.
What are you offering?
Okay, absolutely. Thank you for the chance to talk about that. So, one thing I am putting together is a directory of healing practitioners so that Black women who have moved abroad can have access to care, right? Because we know that the way the mental health system is set up in the United States, it's very limited, right? And once you go global, you lose access to a lot of things. And so I'm getting together a lot of people who practice healing differently than the licensed therapy model. And I'm gathering them up so that I can provide this resource to Black women moving abroad. Um, because I can't see everyone, right? I can't, not, I would love for more people to join Soft Landing Circle, but at some point there will be a cap on how many people I can meet with and hold circles for, right? And so I want to have a directory of trusted individuals. I'm actually starting to meet with the healers, therapists, and coaches next week to kind of interview them and get their vibe and decide about them being in the directory, right? And so there's that. That's why part of why I'm so busy and haven't moved yet. I got a lot going on. Then the other way that I'm trying to serve Black women moving abroad is through the Soft Landing Circle. It's a 12-week program where women get access to the the skills I'm trying to teach them so that they can have that soft landing, so they can regulate and feel restored, right? So they can learn how to respond instead of reacting during any of life's transitions, and really helping them to feel at home in their body. It's a 12-week program. I'm enrolling people all the time. When you come in, you have a community of women like you to talk to, and you get started on your 12-week program. If they want to continue after the 12 weeks are over, there are options for that. And I've even set up application calls to start after this live stream. If there's anyone watching who's ready to get started, who knows that this is for them, or wants to ask me some questions or get the details about it, you can set up, you can book a call with my TidyCal link. It might be in the description. But yeah, it's really designed to meet Black women expats where they are, right? We talk about the themes of loneliness, grief, and guilt, which I've found often travel together. We talk about Black excellence and taking off that cape. You know, we talk about all the things related to this big transition that we're making. Also, the transition we're making as women in different developmental stages, right? We're going to talk about health and wellness. We're going to talk about perimenopause and menopause. I have some speakers coming in, some expert speakers to help us really make sure that we move well, that we can heal where we are, we can heal where we're going, we can heal in between. I don't think that people need to postpone their healing. I don't think people need to postpone their move. I think you can heal while, and so that's the work that we do in Soft Landing Circle. I've set it up to be able to meet people wherever they are in that process. And I'm really excited about the women that are in there right now, and I'm excited about, continuing to expand and meet more ladies and just help out.
Love that, Tori. So you heard it first. Join Tori's circle. If you're not a part of it, you need to be a part of it. Going to really help us with that healing. I wanted to say hey to Dr. Davia. There's so many great people in the chat today. Dr. Davia says, woohoo, the passport for the children is a great start.
Well, look, and you know what? My goal last summer was to get my children their passports, and I didn't meet that goal. That's okay. We're going to do it. We're going to do it in the next few months. So
that's okay. Sometimes it just takes a little bit longer. It doesn't mean that it's never going to happen.
Absolutely.
Also, Dr.
And the flames of my dreams all the time. Look, they're not going away.
They're not going away.
Nope.
Dr. Davia says, thank you for your loving circle. Yeah. So, Dr. Davia, if you could put in the chat, we need help to support Tori. What was that loving circle like? Or just give us a little bit about how your experience working with Tori was, because we have people in the chat. So we would love to have a review. We can have a review right here. I can put it on the screen too, Dr. Davia, if you are listening. Yeah. And Marissa says, this is incredible work, Tori, truly.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We are getting so much love today, getting loved on so hard. I'm loving this. So based on your thoughts, you are saying that we do not need to heal before we move.
Correct. You need to be aware of what healing for you needs to look like, though. But you don't need to heal before you move. You need to be aware, I think.
Okay. But do you find that people do better if they have healed before they moved?
I would say, okay, yes-ish. right? I think I would not advise someone to move if they are actively managing trauma, right? If they have just gotten out of something traumatic, like you described for yourself. I wouldn't say like jump right into something. I would say take some time to sit with that and see what kind of see its effects on you. Be able to recognize how that's affected your body, your mind, your spirit, and talk it through with someone, first and foremost. Um, I would say there are some red flags, right? So if you're having heavy feelings that you feel like you can't get out from under, right? You need to take some time with that. Maybe don't set an exact date, right? Because healing on a timeline doesn't necessarily work. If you're finding that you're very emotionally numb, or you have like chronic anxiety symptoms, or just you're repeating conflict in relationships just over and over, it's just this repeated conflict. Okay, those are some things that I would call red flags. You need to sit with those. You need to get some support. You need to revisit your expectations about the move, right? You need to look at your expectations for yourself. Those are some important things. Some things that I would say would be yellow flags would be, so like if you think of red as stop, right? Let's think of yellow as caution. If you are feeling very tender or reactive about something, right? Let's say maybe something has happened to you, not necessarily recently, but in a span of 3 to 6 months, but you're still feeling very tender or reactive about it. Well, that's a yellow flag. You need to pay attention to that and slow down, right? If you're doing a lot of questioning of your decision, like a lot of self-doubt, a lot of questioning, that nagging kind of questioning, not just the normal kind of, well, I wonder. No, the stuff that kind of weighs you down. Or if you're having a lot of waves of like homesickness, if you're already abroad, or doubt, if you've already moved or you're thinking about moving, slow down. You need to look at your expectations too. And also think about practicing some self-compassion. If you're noticing that you're not being very kind to yourself in your mind, let's practice some self-compassion throughout, right? So this is the yellow zone where we're slowing down. I'm not saying don't move, or you've already moved, go back. No, slow down. You can get some clarity if you slow down. If you are able to divorce yourself from any particular timelines, that could be helpful, right? Just give yourself some space. That could be really helpful. And then I would say green flags. I mean, we probably all know what the green flags are, right? You're feeling comfortable and confident. That doesn't mean 100% of the time, but more often than not, you're feeling comfortable, confident, you're feeling calm. You feel like you can trust yourself, or you're growing in that. Another green flag, especially for a soft landing, would be you have community and friendships that can travel with you, however that looks, right? They're either there where you're going, or you have the people you can call anytime that are supportive, or you have your online community. Those are all, I would say those would be green flags, and those would be the things that for past Maya, I would have wanted to set up for her, right? Realizing the hardness of what you were choosing, and giving yourself some credit for, you sound really brave for doing that. Even though it was really hard for you, and maybe there's a sense of either regret or something close to it. I mean, wow, it's amazing that you did it though.
Thank you, Tori. Let me ask you this, Tori. Is it okay if we go over 15 minutes?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. The chat is popping. People are happy, and I don't
talk and read at the same time. So.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so what you said, Tori, Absolutely, I had no business moving abroad at that time. Not that I could not move abroad at all, but like I needed to transition of not being in the PhD program. It was such intense trauma that actually
Mhm,
doing all of those new things actually was even more like jarring for me in the beginning.
mhm.
After about 5 months, I was good. And then I could like really enjoy it. I loved my apartment. I made friends. I was having a great time. But just initially, I was crying in paradise. So I would not have recommended that to young Maya. However, current Maya, this Maya, I actually do feel like I'm confident. I do feel like I'm calm. I do feel like I'm comfortable. All the things you said with the green flags. I
Yeah,
do have community that can travel with me. I already have a therapist that can travel with me. I have people in the US that, I could call if I needed to, like you said, in the middle of the night. I have, I know where I'm going. Like, so I think that this is like more ideal and it is a
yeah,
green flag situation this time, but last time was a red flag situation.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
that's okay. We make some mistakes, but that
Mhm,
doesn't mean we can't recover. And like I said, the reason I don't completely regret it is because that red flag is the reason I can be at a green flag now. If
mhm.
I hadn't gone at that time, then I would be probably at a yellow now because it's like I don't know anything. I'm starting all
Sure,
over. So I
sure.
think it's all good.
Well, and I love that you didn't then tell yourself, "This isn't for me," and gave up on it, which kind of is almost, you can say anything in hindsight, but in retrospect, it's kind of like, maybe it happened the way it was supposed to happen
I agree
for
with
you in
you.
particular, you know?
Thank you.
Um, for sure.
We have a message from Davia because I asked her to love all on you, and Davia has delivered. She said, for your healing circle, there was great flexibility to be able to pop into the group and be in community with sisters who are transitioning or planning on transitioning.
Mm,
Okay, so you heard that from a real person. I know Davia. This is not some like random person on the internet. We know Davia. We've heard this from a real person who's
yeah.
out where in Thailand who says that Tori's healing circle, okay, is a good circle to be a part of.
Aw, thank you so
Okay.
much, Davia. And, and I'm working to make it better all the time. I'm really responsive to look, I'm working with expats, live all around the world. Um, I'm working to make it as flexible as possible. Now, I can't be online all the time, right? And I can't offer times that work for everybody, but I try to be responsive. If I have a group of people that come in who need a certain structure, then there's flexibility in the program right now to build that kind of structure for them. So yeah, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to be able to be flexible and change things up for the people who need them and not be so. I I find the world of therapy so constricting sometimes, right? With all the rules, regulations, licensing that we have. Part of why I'm doing this is also so that I can get free from that as well. Um, yeah, I don't like to be constrained. So, mm-mm.
I can see that 100% as you should not, right? Like you deserve your freedom. So Tori, since this is our last live with someone at this point,
Yeah,
let's do something I've never done before. I'm
yeah.
going to ask people in the chat to answer a specific question. So we got some heavy hitters out here. We got Davia, we got Marissa Price Hills, we got Hey Vonnie, we got my mama and my auntie. So we might as well ask some questions out there and get some responses. So can you all write in the chat, did you move to heal or did you heal to move? And where did you move to? Okay, just that simple. Move to heal, heal to move. Where did you move to in the chat? So, Tori, we
Mhm,
had talked a little bit about like elderly parents.
mhm.
What do we do if we want to move so bad? Like they've given us so many reasons. We watch the news every day and we're like, wow, it's my time is now. But you had a whole elderly parent and you're like, wow, they not coming. What do we do with that information, knowing that we want to go, but knowing we got that elderly parent that we're taking care of?
Well, originally I joked about packing them up in a suitcase and then just taking them. Like, look, I'm gonna give you some Benadryl. I'm gonna pack you up. We're going. Obviously, I wouldn't do that. So individual. I'm very close and bonded with my parents. So I'm not going anywhere right now. Um, some people and some people in the circle have navigated coming back to the United States when their parent had a health event. There were a lot of emotions around that. Um, even some guilt at leaving them while they were vulnerable and going back to their home abroad. It's a lot, and there's no one right answer. I think the most important thing we can do is give ourselves space to discern what is the right answer for ourselves, not what other people want from us, not what we feel society might want from us. Um, what in your deepest heart, your intuition, your core self, what does your core self say about how to navigate that relationship? And then find a way to do that. Maybe it's coming back and forth. Maybe it's making that move and then bringing them to visit if they're open to visiting. Maybe they'll fall in love with it and stay. Maybe they won't. It's so individual. I'm not a leave them behind kind of person, but I understand people have some difficult relationships, and that might be what's best for them in that situation. I think it's important that we leave room for everyone to make the best choice for them, and not paint everyone with a broad stroke like, oh, you are staying behind and so you're giving up your life. Someone could look at me and say, you're giving up your life for your dad. No, I'm actually not. My dad is really important to me. I'm a daddy's girl, and I'm going to take care of him for the time he has left, which honestly speaking may not be much. So that's what I'm navigating right now, and that's what I could live with, right? Make the decision you can live with. And then if you feel like you've made the wrong decision, make a new decision, right? I talk to clients all the time. If you don't make the right decision, well, is there a way to make the decision right? I don't think there's permanent decisions. Try something, see what happens. Then try something else.
I think it's very fantastic and just so considerate of you to be here for your dad and the importance that he has in your life. So that is great. And one thing that Tori and I talked about is it's okay if you can't move right now. That doesn't mean that you'll never be able to do it, right? You don't have to give up your dreams. Just sometimes we have to put things on hold.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Tori, I don't know what it is about you, but everybody in my family is on this live for you today. Hello, Miss McBroom. I'm so glad that you are here and you are supporting and tuning in. There's folks that I never see at a live are showing up for you today, Tori.
They're showing up for you too. I think it's a testament to you. I love your shows.
Oh,
and yeah,
so
I mean,
sweet.
this is awesome show up.
My brother is here too. Hey, bro, good to see you. So glad that everybody's here. So we have some answers in the chat.
Yeah,
Tori, let's start off. Let's see what we have here. And let me put this also on the screen so that all of us can see. Okay. So we have Vani moved briefly to Mexico City and seriously considering moving back once Vani gets some financial things in order. Hope that works out for you, Vani. Also, sometimes you can't move because of the finances, but we'll be able to move eventually. No worries. And then we have Marissa Price Hills. I moved to heal to Guadalajara, where I was able to heal and then move to be closer to the family. So glad that you were able to heal in Guadalajara. Like,
sure, yeah.
If you can get that healing abroad, do it. And then we have Dr. Davia. I moved to heal Bangkok, Thailand, summer 2025, and I'm working a bit harder than I expected, but the healing is priceless. That is really, really great. I mean, it seems like the consensus if we all move to heal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the times we're in, especially right now too.
That's true. And then my brother, hey bro, he moved to Heal, California 2015, 2017, 2020, planned to move to the South and eventually out of the country. Okay.
All right, go ahead, cowboy.
There
Yeah,
we go.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
moving somewhere else, you have a new environment, right? You can try on a new self, right? It's like a very physical way to remove a lot of what has been weighing you down. And so it makes a lot of sense that will move to heal, right? It's a very physical boundary that people are setting. And sometimes that gives you like a safety cushion that you need in order to start to let it go, right? And at the same time, be prepared that it will, while it's expanding you, it is also exposing things. But now you have the opportunity to meet them,
That
right?
is so deep. I've been taking notes the whole time. While it's expanding you, it's also exposing you. Very deep.
Yeah, lots of layers you could be introduced to. And if you are not expecting that, that in itself can be hard. So, okay, so we told you. So now me and Dr. Meyer, we're telling you.
We put you on game. Now it's out of our
Now
hands.
you know.
Marissa Price Hill saying that decisions don't have to be permanent. 100%. They do not have to be permanent. The reason we make mistakes is so that we can learn from them. It's
Right, right.
completely okay to make some mistakes.
Absolutely. That's the point.
Yeah,
The
that
point
is
of
the
all of
point.
it.
So you don't have to ever feel overwhelmed by any mistake that you've ever made. You can recover from them. Or something that seemed like a mistake can actually become helpful in the future. You know,
Absolutely.
like you regret it in that moment, but then years later you don't.
Hmm.
Okay, so my auntie Marsha has made a comment. I'm really enjoyed this time with you guys. I love this story. Thank you for sharing. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, auntie. We're really glad. And out everybody out there, thank you for being present for this live. I saw Tori on another channel and I was like, why is Tori not on my channel? And so I am going to find her and bring her so y'all don't even have to worry. Exactly. Exactly. So I'm really glad, Tori, that you came through. You said some really exceptional things. And as I prepare for my move, I will be rewatching this video to get all of the things that you said. Did you happen to have any final words for our audience? You got about 1,000 people that could potentially watch this video. Any final words for them?
Oh gosh. This one is always so hard because I say I can't think anything because you put me on the spot. And then sometimes I come up with a whole bunch of stuff. But I just want people to know that they don't need to postpone their healing to move. And I also want people to know that there's work you can do all throughout the process, right? It's healing while, it's healing during. We heal during life, right? You can't pause life to heal. Okay. So as long as I think you have that awareness and the expectations set where they ought to be, go or stay. Whatever you do is the right thing.
Yeah, I thought that you had to be completely healed up in order to maybe get into a relationship, to move, but it's not true. Sometimes you can heal while you're in those situations. So, being in Colombia the first time was very healing for me to not have to see anybody from the PhD program, to
Right.
be in a completely different space was so nice. I felt comfortable, I felt safe. I had community eventually. It was really healing, even though I was trying to heal in the same time of
Hmm.
being there. But at some point, I actually got to the point of healing after 6
Hmm.
months, and then I was having a blast. So you can actually be in the situation and still work on your healing too. And I think, Tori, all of the resources that you mentioned can help you to heal along the way. That community, that therapist, Tori Circle, um, talking to people, your friends, like that can all help you. And maybe when things come up that you get exposed to, addressing them instead of running away from them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's how you move through the transition, not really what transition you pick, you know? So let
Yeah,
this be a good
sure.
resource, for all of those out here who are asking this question.
You're
Yeah.
right. And when you feel like something is coming up for you, like let's say you start to realize, I actually hate working, but we got to work in order to survive. Like that comes up for you. How do you address things that you're exposed to in the moment, like when they come up?
Hmm. Yeah. Really learning how to pay attention to those signs in yourself, right? That's a lot of the work we do in the soft landing circle, noticing your reactions. We go through a lot of teaching on the fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses so people can begin to recognize those because in the situation that Black women have been in for so long, often we don't pay attention to those signs, right? So come along somebody who knows what those are that can help you recognize them in yourself so that no matter where you go or what you're doing, you know how to be well, right? You know how to come home to yourself. You know how to create a soft landing for yourself minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, season by season, year by year. That's what it's about, is knowing yourself.
Great point. I love what you said. Coming home to yourself. That is a beautiful way of putting it because what's going to happen is the country will not heal you. Right? The healing comes from within. It doesn't matter what country you're in. If you're not healed within, the same things are going to come up, right? It's going to
Mhm.
be the same thing just in a different space, right? You're just going to be sad by a beach. Okay, you just going to be
Right,
sad with good weather. Like it's the
right.
same thing
Yeah,
cuz you got to work on the self first.
exactly. Relocation doesn't change patterns, but it can give you the opportunity to change patterns. Does that make sense? Because if you're so braced in the situation that you're in, leave the situation, you know? The healing work will still need to be done. The place doesn't heal, as you said. The person heals, but the healing might be better facilitated, right? In a different place. Just like I don't encourage my client who's with a toxic partner. I let her know there's only so much healing work we can do while you're still with this person. So there is some we can do. There's only so much we can do. So same kind of thing. Have that awareness and have the expectations. If you don't have awareness that you need to heal or where you need to heal, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and I we are ending soon. Don't you even worry. About 3 more minutes, I'm gonna let you go. But what you said is so key because I was thinking that I believe, radical thought, that you should just move away from your problems so you can heal from them. But then somebody was like, "What if you can?" I was like, "Ooh, difficult." I'm with you, Tori. I think it's hard to heal when you're still in trauma. Like
Mhm.
it is very difficult to do that. And my therapist said that you cannot heal while you're still in trauma, but maybe there's some nuance there. But I do think taking a step back, taking some time away can be helpful.
Mhm.
So after taking the time of being in Columbia for a year, I was able to come back and be a tenure track professor where if I had just done that after PhD,
See? Yeah, that's evidence right there. That's evidence it sounds like to me you did the right thing for you. I mean, it worked
exactly.
out. So
Exactly.
so that means it was right.
It was right. Okay, Tori, I'm gonna let you go because we know you got things to do. We know you got people to take care of. I'm gonna just close out with some of the comments of what people have said so
Yeah.
that you can just see that people are loving on you. Dr. Davia, thank you, ladies, for the conversation. You're welcome. Davia, thank you for being here. Hope that you're having a great time in Thailand. Love your content. Please keep it coming in case we are not able to make it to Thailand. We can live vicariously through you. We also have from Vani. Thank you, Maya and Tori. This was amazing. Vani, I'm so glad that you were here. You were in this chat doing what needed to be done. You kept this chat alive single handedly. Thank you, Vani, for being here. And we also have my Auntie Marlene. This was very enlightening. Thanks, Dr. Maya and Tori. Thank you, Auntie Marlene, for being here. It's so good to see you. I love you all so much. I'm trying to make my way back to Michigan. I know that's what you're thinking when you're coming back. I got you when it's not cold. You let me know when it's not cold, Auntie Marlene, and I'll be there. Okay? You let me know. And then my brother, Lil bro, love this episode. Healing doesn't get talked about enough. You're so right, bro. Thank you for being here, healing with us, talking with us. Marissa Price Heals, much needed conversation. Thank you both.
Thank you.
And Dr. Cheryl said thank you both. So yes, okay. So you gave me the link for the soft landing. So let me give this to everybody.
Yes, please.
Everyone
By
in the chat.
application only.
Application
just to make
only.
sure it's a good fit.
Okay.
You know, and yeah, if anyone wants to talk today, I have some time this afternoon.
Wow. Okay, we can get on it today. If y'all want to talk to Tori today, the link is in the chat. Everything about Tori is also in the description box. So definitely check Tori out. We love this information. Tori, it was so great to have you on the channel. I'm so
much
glad
for having
you
me.
were on somebody else's channel so I could steal you / borrow you to be on my channel. So thank you for coming through. Thank you for giving us a little extra time just to talk with you and bond with you. I want you to know that the work that you're doing is absolutely incredible. We could not continue as a people and as a community without healing. Healing is necessary for all of us. And the fact that you are willing to help us heal means the world to us. So thank you for what you have created, and know that you have made the world a better place with this healing circle alone.
Thank you for saying that. I'm gonna cry. It can be hard to be a healer in this climate. So I appreciate you saying that so much.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. And with that, I'm gonna let you go. And we're gonna talk to you today. Somebody might talk to you today, okay? Don't forget, she's got time, okay? This is the Prophet Mother coming to you live. Got the time today, okay? All right, everybody. I will see you later. I'm still going to post content on YouTube. You don't have to worry about that. In the process of getting all the details together for my move, so I will not be posting as much. This was my final featured live with another person for a little while, but I'll still be out there. You'll still know me as Fly Like Me PhD, and I'm going to get y'all that video once all details are solidified about all of the things. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and we will talk to you later.